Every year, Phil Ringer and Ringer Baits run the 3-day Ferry Meadows Classic, and this year I finally got a chance to take part in the event. However, I didn't expect it to turn into one of the best bream fishing experiences of the year. Well, good morning. This is the first day of the Ferry Meadows Classic 3-day competition. It was lovely and sunny when I left home this morning. We drove across down the parkway. It was lovely and sunny. Left home at 6 o'clock this morning, shot across to Worksop and went and joined the A1, and it's an easy run from there down here to Peterborough. It's about 100 miles, so it's the day one of a 3-day competition. It's all about bream fishing. The draw is going to be incredibly important, but we're down here nice and early, ready for the 8:30 draw. That's the visitor centre. That's where they're going to be doing the draw. Phil Ringer's running this competition. This is Gunwade. I think everybody's going to be on here this weekend. There is another lake over there, Overton, but I think there are 48 anglers. It's going to be a competition that's going to be run on cumulative weight over the 3 days, and I think by having a look at his Facebook post on the Ringer Baits page, it's going to be 3 zones, so it's A, B and C, and we're going to rotate through the zones each day, so every angler will get to fish in each zone. But as you can see, it's flat calm. It is all about bream here. The average size of the bream is quite big here. It's probably 4 to 5 pound, but it's quite common to get a 6 and 7 pound bream as well. So as you can imagine, as always with bream fishing, especially on a venue like this that's quite clear, it's flat calm, we don't know if the sun's going to break through, but the draw is going to be super important. Wherever you draw on this venue, you've got to walk. So I've just spent 10 minutes loading the barrow up ready before the draw, because I know I'm going to walk from here. I can leave the van here, and obviously if Dad doesn't want to come down to the peg, if the weather's not going to be great, he can obviously go to the cafe and the toilet. So all ready to go. Just need a peg now that's going to give me a chance. What you got, Ray?
Not 50, is it?
Thank you, mate.
Morning, proper.
Morning.
Pete, are you driving or what? I don't know yet.
That's the one.
Pick one up. You are the driver. Go on, proper.
Topping peg.
54.
54. Some drawbags behind me. Peg 54. Don't mean a lot. I think it's in the middle of that far bank, I think.
40, Lee will be pleased with getting out.
54, mate.
54. Near the river mouth.
Near the river mouth, Mr. Ringer says. So, I haven't fished that many matches here, to be honest. I think I'm over there somewhere. I think it's over there, so I'm going to be better off walking that way, which is a very long walk. I'm leaving my van on the car park here just so that it's better for Dad. So unfortunately it means I've got an even longer walk. But hopefully there's going to be a few fish there. It's still flat calm. I've been told there might be a bit of a breeze later on, but the conditions look a little bit more favourable tomorrow. So I'm just going to finish off loading this barrow up and start the hike over to the peg. Well, nobody's really said it's a favourable draw. There were 1 or 2 blanks here last week. Last week there was a Feeder Masters qualifier on here. So you've just got to go. It's bream fishing, anything could happen. There were some fish here a couple of weeks ago apparently, but as we know, every day is different, so it's going to take me at least 20 minutes I think to walk round to the peg. So as soon as I get there, I'm going to get in the water, get the platform set up, mix the ground bait, and then I'll talk you through how I plan on fishing it. That's where we're heading. Well, down here, down into this bay, right the way around, and I think that's the river mouth. I'm somewhere over there. There's a river. I think I'm somewhere just to the left. Well, that's 52 on the river mouth, so there I am. I think I've drawn here before. 54. Yeah, no, I've drawn a couple of pegs to the left before. I remember that was a Feeder Masters qualifier, and Jeff Ringer qualified. He won the zone. He was either on this one or that one. He fished a method all day. But as you can see, it's far from ideal bream conditions. The water's very clear, as you can see. Flat calm, bright sunshine, but that's what it is. I'm going to get set up. I think it's going to be just set 2 rods up for 1 line, I think. I don't know what the weed situation's like out there, so I'm going to get my ground bait mixed up and then get all my tackle set up. So ground bait mix wise, it's in a plain bag. That's basically because I'm here for 3 days. I'm going to be using the same mix for 3 days. So what I did was a 12-pint mix for 3 days as one big mix, and then I've just split it into 3 lots. So I've got 4 pints of ground bait, which is probably way more than I need, but I've got it just in case. And the mix is Sonobait's green fish meal and Thatcher's. It's quite a strong mix. That's one that I've got confidence in from last time I was here. So it'll be the same mix over the next 3 days. Well, I'm not going through this every day with you, but lots of people ask about the setup and stuff. I'm all in now. I'm on the platform, obviously. Usual seat box. I brought that type roost today just to cut down, because obviously I've got Dad's bag, Dad's chair, Dad's umbrella, so I've cut down just so I can get everything on the barrow. So that's why I brought that, because it's a little bit more compact than the normal roost that I would use, but that's my preferred roost of choice. And then just simply 2 self-supporting side trays, and I've got the brolly up as well. Don't know if we're going to need that for the rain today, but certainly for the sun, so I can lower that down a little bit once I get comfortable. And that's it really. I'm just going to put 2 12-foot rods up and fish down 1 hole, but I'm going to have a good plumb around with a bomb out there, because I just want to know if there is any weed out there or anything like that. So I'm all set up, and just found out I've got Rob Wotton on my right. For some reason I've just noticed my shock leader is actually damaged, so just going to quickly change that. 8-pound shock leader is just an up and down leader, 7 meters long. Better off just changing it now to make sure. Now that's done, all I've got is a really simple helicopter rig. That's all I'm going to use today. Well, I've clipped up at 50 meters and it feels pretty clean from weed, to be fair. That's the sort of range I'm looking at with it being flat calm. I think there isn't any wind on it whatsoever, so I'm just going to have 3 or 4 casts out there again just to double check, just make sure I've got that lined up with a 4-bank marker so I know exactly where that clear bit is. I think that's where I'm going to focus things, but I'm just going to double check it and then I might alter it by 2 or 3 meters. I've got a bit of a breeze on it now, as you can see. A bit of wind's coming in from the right and in. Sun's still out. I'm just going to go down 1 hole, fish 1 line. I found a spot. I mean, when it was flat calm, it'd probably favour going a little bit further in those conditions. However, we've got a bit of a ripple on it now, and having got a bomb out there, I found on the line that I'm casting, there's a spot at about 46 meters, I'd say, where it feels as though there's a little bit of weed. Now, I didn't really come back with anything on the bomb, which is quite often the case on this venue with the type of weed that you've got here. So it didn't come back with anything, but there's definitely something there. So I don't know if it's just really, I don't know what it is, but there's something there. So I'm going to fish just past that, because usually you are looking for a little bit of a feature on this, what looks like featureless lake. So I'm going to fish 48 meters, which is probably shorter than them around me. I'm not quite sure because I don't know what they're going to fish. And I'm just going to focus on that 1 line. Everyone says it's going to be tough. So really, I think we are fishing for a bite to start with. So I'm not going to absolutely fill it in. I'm probably going to put about 4 feederfuls in and then go straight over the top of it. Bait tray is quite simple. I've got the mix there that I told you about. That's been put through a sieve. I've got some corn. I've got some casters. I've got much more bait in the cool bag over there, because obviously on a sunny day like this I am here for 2 more days after this, so I want to make sure my bait's in good condition. So I've got more bait there if I need it. So I've got a few casters there. I've got some red maggots here. I've got some dead reds that I'm just about to get out, and I've just got some brighter coloured fluoro maggots for the hook there. And over there, the inevitable worms, and I've got a nice drink there if I need it. So plenty of worms there if I need them. 4 horizons going in. Now, I'd love to say that I got off to a fantastic start in this event, however, that wasn't how it panned out. The whole area fished incredibly difficult. I ended up with just 1 fish, and the only bream caught on those pegs just there was by Rob Wotton, who managed to snare a bream with 90 minutes to go. But then the nearest angler who caught any sort of a number of fish was Phil Ringer. But what I didn't realise was how different things were going to be on day 2. Well, that was a bit disappointing. That's it. Catch shot. 1 ounce.
Yeah, that's smaller than my one.
It is. I think you've got. Have you got the section, Chris? There we go. I think Chris has had a 3 ounce or so. He might be the section winner. Avoided the blank. Hopefully, I'll not be seeing you tomorrow. He's fished hard. There's just been the odd fish caught here. I don't know if Chris has won the section with 3 ounce maybe, and then further down there they've blanked. So definitely need a good draw tomorrow. Gonna fish the same, got the same mix and everything. Like I said, we're staying in digs tonight. I haven't really got any hook lengths and stuff to do tonight, so I could just really get the barra loaded up, which is nearly there. And Dad's making friends just like he has been doing all day. Gonna get over there, get to the digs, looking forward to a nice hot meal, and it'll be interesting to see the results. I'll put the full results up for you, and hopefully, if it has fished as hard as what we think, hopefully we might only be 4, 5, 6 fish behind, but that obviously means I need to drop on some tomorrow. Looks like we've just got to Phil as he's weighing in. Let's have a look what he's got. Like a 3 for 20, isn't it? Do you reckon? More than that. Yeah.
£20.10.
Well, those are the only proper bites that Phil's had, 3 for £20. You know, the average size of the bream really are big in here when you get them. But he says he has had some liners and stuff in that last hour, so there are obviously 1 or 2 fish milling about, but that's the top weight we've heard of so far. So it'll be interesting to see how they've caught at the other end of the lake. The whole lake had fished difficult. Obviously the conditions weren't favourable, and perhaps it just needed some bait to go in for these fish to really start going on the feed, and that was something we were going to find out going into day 2. The day 1 leader was Steve Ringer with £57. Not far from him was Nathan Goodham with £46.8. Adam Wakeling was third with £29 8 ounce, and then closely behind him was Graham Dawes with just £29, and then Sean Kelly sneaked into the top 5 after day 1 with £28.6. But when you consider that the average size of some of these fish is £6 and £7, those weights are literally only a few bites. For me, I was keeping my fingers crossed for a decent draw going into day 2 so that I didn't fall too far behind, and thankfully I managed to find a few bream. Well, good morning, it's day 2. It's another bright sunny morning. Obviously yesterday wasn't the start that I wanted. We did get a little bit of news during the match, but to cut long story short, leading the way after day 1 is Steve Ringer with £57. I think he had 8 bream and some skimmers for that. There were 1 or 2 areas that lots of people didn't really fancy, and one of them was the high bank, but there were a couple of fish, a couple of weights from that section. So Steve's leading the way with £57, and then Nathan Goodham was also there, a few pegs to his left I think, and he had £46. So they're the first and second anglers going into day 2. I think there are 6 weights on £20, and as you saw briefly yesterday, Phil Ringer, he weighed £20, but he only had 3 fish for that, 3 bites. So to get £20, obviously you could literally only need 3 bites, so that's how close it is. I'm off to a different section today, and obviously, as you'd expect, there were quite a few blanks all the way around the lake yesterday, so I'm off to a different section, and that's where I'm hoping where I'm going to drop on a few fish, because I really need some fish to get into this competition now. Going for the sections now. I've just got here and they've already drawn for me. I'm on 79, which doesn't mean a hell of a lot to me. I can look at the board from yesterday. That's the other board that's been done. So 79 for me. I think it's about bang opposite, bang opposite over there somewhere. I don't know what peg the monument is. I don't know if you can make it out on this camera. That's bang in the middle. Yesterday I was over there where the river mouth is, 54, so I'm now 79. So I've got a feeling, I don't know if I'm in that middle or not. I'll find out which is going to be the quickest way to walk. So I'm going to get the barrel loaded up and get over to the peg. Just had a quick look at the board from yesterday for this one. I don't know if you make it out on this camera. There we go, that's the board. So 77 blanked, 78 blanked, 79 blanked, 80 blanked, 82 blanked, 84 blanked. So all those pegs where I'm going today blanked yesterday. So there was a couple of weights to the left, a couple of 20 pounds down to my left, about 8-10 pegs down to the left. So based on that, it's not my favourite area, but who knows, you never know with bream fishing. So I'm going to get the barrel loaded up and I'll see you over at the peg. Dad's bringing up the rear. There's the bridge that connects Gunwade to Overton. Gunwade is the lake that we're fishing. We haven't had Overton pegged for this competition. However, that lake is usually in when there are feeder masters qualifiers here, and just somewhere over there is the channel that connects these two lakes to the River Nene up to the very well known, I can negotiate this slope, fence end area. Morning.
Jamie,
You fancy that?
it'll be better than yesterday, mate. Not a bite yesterday.
It's not hard. It's not difficult to be better than yesterday, is it? Good luck, lads. I will. I'll keep going. Good luck. Those lads fancy that draw. Really consistent area. I'm just a little bit further on gear. I think this is me. 79. Let's have a look. Make sure that barrow's not rolling away. There we go. Bit of weed close in. There's a ripple out there. I don't know if that was as though something's just splashed, whether it might have been a bird or something. I'm not even going to suggest it was a fish. So all these pegs here didn't catch yesterday, but there's a nice wind on it from the right and in. The grebe's just come up there, so that's where it was. So I'm going to get my ground bait mixed up and get Dad's chair set up ready for when he arrives. Dad's arrived, he's in his chair. That wind's just got a little bit stronger, which can only help, surely. I mean, look at it now in comparison to how it was yesterday when it was flat calm, bright sunshine. A few people did say today was going to be better weather-wise. I assume they meant for fishing, so I gather that must mean the wind, maybe not as sunny, but I didn't really look at the forecast. I'm out on the box now, as you can see, all set up. You can see the anglers to my left, that is probably 3 or 4 pegs to my left is where they caught. There was 2 big 20 pounds caught, and then I think 1 or 2 to my left blanked. This one blanked, and I can't really see, I could just about see the angler to my right through the tree. I can't really see anyone past that, but they blanked as well. So I'm just going to get a bomb on and get a bomb out there just to see if there's any weed out there, see if there are any features which might determine, you know, what line I'm going to focus on. I've just picked up some weed there straight away. They're only about 15 metres. I'm not going to put any line in as short as that, but at least I've found some there. I think my main line is going to be further out. There we go. Didn't find any yesterday. Just found some there first cast. That was about 40 metres that time. Anything past that range I think is going to be acceptable today. If this wind carries on, some weed there now, that must be about 30 metres. So that's good that there is some out there. That's it. I've had a good feel around with a bomb. There is some weed there, you know, that sort of 30 metres, there's some there, but I don't really want to fish as close as that. That might be the place to fish, I don't know. Excuse me. I just don't know the venue well enough. If this wind carried on like this, then yeah, I mean, that might be a nice line to fish, but I'm going to go with a little bit more range, to be fair. So there's a clear spot, it's around 48-50 metres. Well, I thought that's what it was, so I'm going to fish there. I've just gone to the sticks and it works. It's exactly 50 metres basically, so that's where I'm going to fish. There were lots of people yesterday putting 2 lines in. Like I say, I just don't fish matches here, and that might be the way to go, to put 2 lines in. You know, there's obviously a very, very strong argument for that, because that gives you the option to rest lines, you know, and go on them, and that's what Rob Wotton did next to me yesterday. He caught a fish, but to be fair, £57 winning the competition, £46 second. There are 6 20-pound weights, and I haven't drawn in a great area. So rather than just me fish for one fish, I know this sounds daft. Yesterday I eased back on the feed a little bit because I felt we were only after one fish, and I did adjust my approach to accommodate that. I cut back on the feed and just thought that even if one bream came over the feed, hopefully I would catch it. But I'm not in that position now, you know. I'm £57 behind, so I need to catch some fish. I don't just want to sit here and try and avoid the blank and fish for one bream. I know this might sound a little bit daft to some people, but I want to fish for a number of fish, so I'm going to stay very, very positive. I'm going to just be quite aggressive with the feed at the start, just to get some bait out there, just to give the fish a reason to be there, or to come and have a look if they're not already there. And just take it from there. So I'm going to go down one line. I've got this one rod set up, a helicopter rig, same as yesterday. I've got the same mix, the same baits and everything. So, you know, I've got worms, everything that you saw yesterday I've got today, exactly the same. I'm going to fish the same, go down one hole, and hope that if I am going to get a visit, that you know, I'm going to be able to capitalise on it and not only catch one fish, which would be nice. Hopefully I'm going to go on and catch quite a few. So I haven't drawn particularly great. Tomorrow I'm in another section. Tomorrow I'm going to be down there somewhere tomorrow in that other zone. But for today, it'd be nice to get some fish on the board, just so it doesn't leave me too far behind going into that final day tomorrow. About 5 minutes till the start. I'm just going to stick to everything that I've said. 50 metres. That wind's coming, as you can see, from the right and in, which I've got to admit, you know, whilst there weren't any fish caught here yesterday, I think there were 6 in a row that didn't catch. It looks ideal, you know. It's more overcast, there's more wind on it. It looks all right. I've got to admit, if I didn't know how bad it had fished yesterday, I'd really fancy it, but I still fancy it anyway. You never know. So that is it really. I'm going to kick off with I've got some dead reds. Probably kick off with I don't know, 4 or 5 dead reds on, just to kick off with. I've got some corn here as well. I've got some casters. Everything is the same as yesterday. Mine has been in 3.5 minutes. It's set beautifully, I've got to admit, without wind and everything. And I've just looked round to my left, and the angler on my left has got one. Can't believe it. And he's into a fish already. Looks like it's a good fish as well. What a fantastic start. Well, that's a sign that there might be 1 or 2 out there, but I haven't had an indication yet. But it's only been out there, well, 4 minutes 20 seconds now, so that can only be a positive sign. Unbelievably, mine's been in 8.5 minutes, and he's just cast in and it's gone straight round again. So he's got a second fish. I haven't seen anyone else catch, but what a fantastic start that is. This one doesn't look quite as big, doesn't look like it's fighting as much. He is on a shorter line than me, but he is set back as well. So it looks like he's going to be on a second fish in his first 3 casts. I haven't had an indication yet. I'm going to give this 10 minutes. It's 9 minutes and 15 seconds now. That's a brilliant start, and it's definitely telling us that there might be 1 or 2 in the area. I haven't had an indication yet. I'm just going to give this another 30 seconds or so, and then I want to get it back out there. Just reeling in after that 10-minute cast, and the angler on my right's got one now. So there are some here. I'm getting fish caked already. I'm only on my second cast. That looks like a really big bream, that one. It's a really good fish. I can just see him through the trees, so it does feel right with this wind. The sun's just come through now, but it just feels so much better than yesterday. And there are obviously some in the area, so just going to keep going and hopefully we'll get a visit. That's only been in 2 minutes, which is a fantastic bite time, isn't it? It's just great to get a really positive bite. We're off the mark. Not one of the big ones, but it's a start. And to get one so early, it fills you with lots of confidence. You know, I'm just going to keep that bait going in. There's obviously 1 or 2 in the area now, so I'm not going to ease off with that feed. I'm not going to go piling it in, but I'm going to stick to 10-minute casts, but I'm going to fill the feeder on every single cast, just to make sure there's plenty of bait out there if any do come over the feed. Just got to stay positive now. That's really encouraging. That's one of the proper ones. That's a much better stamp fish, that one. I thought the hook was right down, but it's not. Just that MXB hook. I can see is probably a good 5 or 6 pound. That one. They're the ones that we're after. What Ferry's famous for. They're the ones that we're after, so I'm going to stick to that now. Just keep that bait going in, filling the feeder every single cast. That's a much better start. Well, it's 12 o'clock, we've been fishing 9, that's a fish. Well, that's a skimmer. It's a skimmer by Ferry Meadows standards. That's my first fish for 3 casts or so. There we go. That one's covered in the small spawning bumps, that one. So we've been fishing 90 minutes, and I don't know if that's my 5th fish, I think, or 6th. But I've got 20 pound now. I might have a tiny bit more. Absolute fantastic start. But like I said, I haven't had it, to be honest, about 2 or 3 casts ago I pricked a fish. I had an indication that, you know, I really had to pick up on. You would have said the fish was on. And it wasn't, and it didn't feel like a huge fish. It was probably another big one of those skimmers. But the lad on my left, he's not had any more. I haven't seen any more fish caught down to the left. The lad on my right, still got that one that he caught early on. So I'm doing the best just here. But the only thing I'm obviously concerned about is, I don't want to get greedy, but I need to make weight up. You know, I'm chasing 57 pound from yesterday, which is what Steve got, and Nathan was on 46. So I've got 20 pound now, and we're only 90 minutes in, so it's a fantastic start. But obviously, I'm very aware that these fish can suddenly disappear, and that's what I don't want to happen. And the main way that I'm trying to prevent that is by keeping plenty of food going in, plenty of feed going in. Got some worms, casters, some chopped corn in there as well. And I'm just hoping that by feeding a volume every cast, that it's going to keep some fish there. If it does completely die, then I'll go back to the feeding feeder, just like I did at the start, and put a few feederfuls in just to try and get some gear in. It's going very, very well at the minute. I've been fishing 2 hours now, and to be fair, it's gone really, really quiet. I've got about £20. I had a couple of liners, and one of them was a really big liner. I had to pick up. I was sure it was on. There was nothing there. I didn't feel anything. But since those 2 liners, it's gone really quiet. It's just dead now. Having said that, the lad on my left, he's just hooked another one. So that'll be his 3rd fish. He's not had a sign since his first 3 casts. But then the 3 anglers down, I've just seen him catch 2 in quick succession. So I haven't really been watching him. There's another good bream there at the next peg. Proper one. I'm not sure it is in the green hood. I've just seen him get 2 in quick succession, and I did see him catch a couple early. Lad on my right's just had another one, so he's got 2 now. And the other side of him is Graham, and I don't think Graham's even had a sign yet. So I'm still in it. I've just heard that Phil Ringer further down, I don't know how many pegs down he is, probably 10 pegs maybe. He's got 6 or 7 fish. I don't know if they're all big bream or whether some of those are skimmers like mine. And I've heard there are 1 or 2 catching down there, but can't really get too bogged down in what they've caught. You know, I've just got to try and get as much weight as I can to try and get back in this competition. So if I don't get anything on this cast, this has been in 4 minutes 40. I'm going to give it to 10 minutes. If I don't get one, I've continued filling the feeder up, so I've been putting quite a bit of bait in each cast. If I don't get anything on this cast for the remainder of this cast, I'm going to go back to the bait up rod, just like I did when I started the session, and just put 4 or 5 in, pack with feed in quickly, and then just kind of try and set it up again. Another one. I put those 4 bait up feeders in, and it's been about 10 minutes, and we've found another one. I think I've just got a feed to keep them there. I think that's all I'm going to do, but that should put me on probably £25 now, I think. Well, we're just coming into the final 90 minutes, and to be honest, that middle bit was terrible. It just died. I put the feeding rod back out there with a bait up feeder. I put some more gear out there, and I didn't really get a response for about 10 minutes, and then I got a fish, and then it didn't really get going after that, and I just didn't know whether I should just slow it down and try and nick an extra couple of fish, and I've had a brilliant response from that. I've just had 3 more bream and a couple of smaller skimmers as well, so I don't know if that's going to continue. There are 90 minutes left. I just need to catch what I can. There's obviously 1 or 2 fish in this area, so I need to catch as many of them as I can while I'm here, because who knows what tomorrow might bring. First one for ages. Go, 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 go. Oh, I was hoping that was going to go. It's a definite indication. Well, that's it. Never really got going again, to be fair, after that main spell. I tried everything that I possibly could to just try and trigger bites, you know, but without kind of chasing it, if that makes sense. The lad on my right, he just lost one. He was playing one at the all out, and unfortunately he's just lost that. I don't know if that's 1 or 2 he's lost, I'm not sure, but weight wise I kind of lost track. I haven't clicked today, but I've got a feeling that I've caught elsewhere. Not just here, there's been the odd fish caught just here, going right down there to where Phil Ringer is down there. Adam Wakeling's down there as well. I've got a feeling they've caught down there, so I will have gained some ground on lots of people with that weight that I've got today, but I don't think it's going to be enough to catch to catch the leaders. Steve Ringer, you'll not make him out on this camera. Steve Ringer is right up there on the point. Wasn't a fancied area, but I have heard that he's caught. You know, you can't rule him out on any venue, never mind this one. So yeah, it's whatever happens, it's miles better than yesterday. So I'll just get a final tally on the weight, and then we'll see tonight where that puts me in contention as regards the final standings after day 2, going into the last day tomorrow. The final day tomorrow is, I'm going to be heading down there. The wind's blowing down there. Obviously, if there have been some fish caught down there today, we're going to hope that those fish are still there tomorrow. But that's a different day. It just shows you how different one day can be from the next, on the same venue, fishing the same way, with the same baits, just by fishing a different area. But that's bream fishing. I'm just packing away. I've just got a message from Phil Ringer way down there. He says he's got 25 bream. Absolutely unbelievable. So he'll have got a massive weight with that, if they are obviously the average size. He says bream, not skimmers, so he's going to have a mega weight today. I'm obviously hoping, I'm pleased for him obviously, but I'm obviously hoping that there aren't loads and loads of people that's caught like that down there. So that's what I'm hoping for. But like I said, we are down there tomorrow. Whether the fish are going to be down there or not, but everything really is going to be pivoting on the result after today, just to kind of see what other weights other people have had. So he's going to take some beating now, Phil. And yeah, I mean, 25 bream, what a fantastic day he's had. Well, I'm nice and warm now, having gone up and down that bank. It's they've weighed a little bit lighter than what I thought. I was hoping for possibly 60, but I wasn't really sure how those big bream were going to weigh. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not familiar with this venue and the size of fish and what they might actually be weighing. So I've ended up weighing 53 pound, which obviously I would have taken this morning, definitely. We were hoping to just get a bite, but it's obviously a much better day than yesterday. I don't know where that's going to put me as regards the overall standings. We have heard that there have been some fish caught today, quite a lot of fish, and hopefully it's not all by people who have caught fish yesterday, because for people like myself, we're trying to catch up and make up for yesterday. So I'm going to get the rest of this kit packed away. We're going to get back to the digs for a nice hot meal. In hindsight, I'm kind of glad that I didn't just fish for a bite, like I said at the start. I wanted to stay positive. I didn't just want to catch one or two. I wanted to catch a number of fish, and you know that it has worked. But obviously, I've been in an area where, thank you. Obviously, I've been in an area where there have been some fish. You know, obviously, you're only going to get a positive response from that if there are some fish in front of you. So I'm pleased about that, and to be absolutely honest with you, I'm going to do exactly the same again tomorrow, and probably even more aggressive tomorrow. Tomorrow's the final day, so I'm going to take the rest of my bait that I've got for this weekend to the peg with me, and if it means I've got to push it and feed more and be a bit more aggressive. I just think that, you know, bream of that size, when they come into the peg on lots of venues, if you've got a lot of bait down there, you can hopefully hold them in the peg for a while. So, you know, if there isn't much bait there, you might only catch one or two. If there's more bait there, you might have a chance of catching 3, 4, 5. But that's something that I'll obviously experiment with tomorrow. All I need now is a peg down there where they've caught some fish, a peg with some fish in front of me, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that's put me over in the overall standings now. But we won't know that till everybody's weighed in and we get the results tonight. So I'm going to get packed away, head off back over that other bank there, get back to the digs, have a nice hot meal and some sleep, and I look forward to seeing you in the morning for day 3, the final day of this Ferry Meadows Classic. My 53 pound actually went on to win the section, which was obviously really nice to have a bit of a cash pickup, but it also gave me super confidence in my approach as well. Phil Ringer had been down to my left, and he'd had a fantastic weight winning the day, which put his total now onto 149 pounds 14 ounce. So he was leading the competition after day 2. Just behind him was Adam Wakeling with 116 pounds, and then Chris Hill was into third then with 113 pound. He'd been down to my left as well and really capitalised on his visit to those pegs there. And in 4th place was now Steve Ringer with 105 pounds, and 5th overall going into the final day was Nigel Truman with 94 pounds. So I was obviously quite a way behind that, but I felt that all I needed was a chance going into the final day, because I was got so much confidence in my approach, and hopefully if there were some bream in the area where I drew, I kind of felt that a confident approach would attract any of those larger bream into the area. So it was all to fish for going into the final day. Well, we've got a very different day today. It's raining already, as you can see. Yesterday, pretty happy with the result, or with what I've caught from where I caught, but as you can see, there was some mega weights down to my left. That's really where I needed to be. So really, with that weight that I had yesterday, I'm still not even in the top 12 now, because there was some big weights down to my left, down to the epicenter of where those fish were caught. So, you know, happy with what I caught where I was, but I really needed to be down that other end to get one of those weights to get me up. So we're going into a final day, and realistically there's not much chance of me winning it, unless obviously something freakish is going to happen with the section that I'm going to. But obviously there's still quite a bit of section money to fish for, and you always want to finish as high as you can. So the first thing I need to do is get into the visitor centre and draw a peg out that's hopefully got a few fish in front of it.
In the car, not getting wet.
Righto then, boys, final day. Exactly the same as obviously yesterday, the draw, just a couple of quick thank yous. Peterborough gave us one of the days for free, so thank you very much for Peterborough. Thanks everyone for coming. Go on, flopper. In. Give it a shake up. That's the one. That's the one. Where do I want to be, Phil?
32. Wherever you want to be, flopper. There. I'll do middle of the eye bank. Fish there yesterday.
37. 37, mate.
It's my peg from day one.
Did you leave some there for me?
Left some there for everyone.
Here we go, peg 37. Gotta admit, doesn't mean anything to me other than it's middle of the high bank, so at least that means it's going to be a shorter walk for Dad. There were some fish caught through there yesterday, no mega weights, but as you've already seen in this competition, anything can happen. Just going to be the same approach, I think. So we're just going to head back to the van, get the barrel loaded up for a shorter walk this time, and see if Dad wants to join me. Hopefully this rain's going to keep off, and I'll see you down at the peg. Mr. Cook.
Good luck, mate.
Good luck, mate. I don't need to wish you good luck. Have a good one, mate. I wanted to show you the walk down to this peg, but there was a bit of a camera malfunction. This is what they refer to as the high bank, for obvious reasons, because of the high bank behind you. All these pegs are in the trees, they're really, really nice. And that is me for the day. 37. Obviously you can see how clear it is, but it's been like that all week. Bit of a ripple on it from left and in, really. Always looks nice. I think it's a little bit shallower here close in, I think, or it might be a little bit deeper. I'm not sure. I've only really fished on here, I think, once before, on this bit, on this section, once or maybe twice over the last 8 years or so. So I'm gonna get set up out there. Everything's going to be the same today, same mix. The only thing I might do is just be a little bit more aggressive with the feed, and that's because, you know, I think realistically I might need at least £50 just to stand a chance of getting in that overall frame. So I'm just going to do what I did yesterday, but possibly feed a little bit more, I think, just to try and hold any fish, if there are going to be any fish roaming about out there, just to try and hold them in the peg a little bit longer. And I'm not quite sure even if I'm going to be able to see any of the anglers round me, but when I get out in the water I might be able to. So that's it, same as yesterday. So the first task is really just get a bomb on, just get a feel for what it's like out there. I haven't really got a clue what it's like, but obviously by getting a bomb on, it'll firstly let me know that what the depths are like, if there are any differences in depth from where I've fished previously, and it'll also obviously, which I think might be even more important, let me know if there's any weed out there. So just so you know where we are, up to the left there, that is the visitor centre, so that's where you come in to the lake. We've obviously walked down this bank. On day one I was right the way up there, that's the river mouth, right over there on the other bank. And then yesterday you can probably just make out where those trees are by the bank side. That's where I was yesterday. So this time yesterday I was literally still walking along that far bank. So as you can imagine, on these pegs you've got a little bit more time to set up. So I'm going to get a bomb out there. I always use the same one. Quite a few people ask about this sort of thing. I like to stay quite uniform when I'm doing this. So it's a 30-gram bottle bomb, and I use that on every venue. And that's just because it's amazing how many times you can spot trends between different venues. You know, certainly on reservoirs, you might find that you're catching it in a certain count at a certain time of year, and it's good for your match diary as well if you always use the same bomb, because it's very, very uniform. So I'm going to get this bomb on. I've just quickly checked my shock leader, which looks fine from yesterday. It's always best to check them, obviously, so if there is any weaknesses in it, I want to find out now and not on that first cast or when I start fishing. So it is an 8-pound leader, same rig again, helicopter rig. That looks fine. So I'm just going to get a bomb on and just get it out there and find out what it's like. Well, that's pretty clean. I've gone out to the same similar sort of range, between 40 and 50 metres. I fished 50 metres yesterday and it seems very, very clear, which is nice. So I'm just going to have 2 or 3 more casts. I just want to double check that, because if I'm going to fish down one hole again, like I plan to, like I've done in the previous 2 days, then I obviously want to make sure that that one spot is clean. I want to find that out now, just so I know it's nice and clean to fish over. Well, all set up, 2 rods basically. I've just got one for fishing, one for feeding, but the feeding one can be doubled up to fish with as well if I have any breakages or anything. To be fair, I've got about another 10 minutes. I have got another 12-foot Horizon Pro distance in the bag. I am going to get that one out just in case there's any breakages. I've got a second rod ready to go. But that's it, I'm all set up. It's the same setup, everything as the previous 2 days. Just to let you know, I mean, I'll be absolutely honest with you, like yesterday, whilst I said, and you know that on day one, the pegs that we drew yesterday, there was blanks there and stuff. With the wind and everything, before the match I said it looked good, it looked nice, and as it turned out there were some fish there. I'm getting that feeling again. This wind, it's from left and in, and I think that looks ideal. I really think that favours this bank. Over the other bank there, it's flat calm over there. That's where they caught all the big weights yesterday. Over there, that is where that was all part of my section over there, so I drew over there. I won that top section, but down here they were all getting 60, 70, 80 pounds. So that's where the fish were caught yesterday. There are 3 or 4 pegs of our section on that bank today, and Phil Ringer's drawn right on it. You'll not really make him out now. He's in the reds down there, 102 peg. He's on the end peg on that bank, and then the rest of our section or our zone or our rotation are on the high bank. And Steve Ringer has drawn about 2 pegs to the left of where he was yesterday, and he didn't really fancy that yesterday, but he managed to catch 40 odd pound. He is in the top 4, I think, of the competition at the moment. He's drawn 2 pegs to the left in front of the monument. I know he won't really fancy that, because he'll have wanted to draw down here where these big weights were. But I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. I think that wind looks ideal. There were some fish caught here yesterday. I think Sean Kelly might have been on this peg yesterday, 39 pound. But there was a 60 pound about 3 pegs to the left. So there were some fish in this area. So I'm just going to feed it like I did yesterday. I'm not going to put loads of feederfuls in, but the feederfuls I'm going to put in are going to be packed with food. So little ground bait, but more particles, more food. Chopped worm, maggots, casters, and some corn as well. Just be nice and positive. So I'm going to do that, set it up exactly like I've done the previous day. I'm going to put about 5 feederfuls out there on that 50 metre line. That's the line I'm going to fish, and then have a 10-minute cast over the top and just take it from there. I can't see anglers either side of me, so I'm not really going to know what is being caught. So just got to get my head down and fish my own match. Even a bit of sunshine's broken through now. There's blue skies as well. A complete change from how it was earlier. But that wind's still coming in, that's the main thing. I'm going to put 5 out there, just to get something out there. I haven't heard much bait go in either side of me, to be fair. Well, about 10 minutes ago it was absolutely freezing, and now the sun's come out again. I ended up putting my top coat on, so I think it's going to be one of those days. We've been fishing in an hour now, and I've had one indication, and I picked up on a fish and I lost it. I got about 3 turns on it. It wasn't one of the bigger bream, I'd say it was a, you know, one of those 2-pounders. I got about 3 turns on it and just pulled out. Really annoyed at that, and I'm pretty sure that won't have helped my swim at all. That's the only indication I've had. It was just a nice positive bite. It was only in about a minute as well. So my last 2 or 3 casts I've just had on 5-minute casts, just to kind of try and get some feed there. I haven't had any other indications, and I haven't heard anything being caught around me. Well, we're off the mark. I would say that that's exactly the same size as the one I lost. But we're off the mark. And that had only been in 3 minutes. That's one of the proper ones. They're the ones we need. That's the stamp. And that was by far the best bite of the weekend. Just a real pull, just like a method feeder. Well, we're 2 hours in. I've had 3 casts now without an indication since that last proper bream. So I'm just mixing up my cast times, just switching between 10-minute casts and then some 5-minute casts. I haven't gone to 15-minute casts yet, but just mixing it up, just trying to get some reaction. I've just heard that Phil Ringer down there, I don't know if you'll just make him out, who's leading the competition. He's on peg 102 on that end. We've just heard that he's got 8. Now I don't know if they're 8 big skimmers or 8 proper bream. That looked like a quick indication then. So he's got 8 already, so obviously there are some fish down there. So he's going to be making it incredibly difficult for him to beat for the competition. But other than that, I haven't heard any more about how this particular bank's fishing. A load of weed on it, this one. A skimmer, that one, covered in weed. So I reckon that's 3 fish for about £8, I think. Sure why I'm catching a smaller stamp. It's nice to be putting something in the net. They're the ones that we want. It's 1:30. We've got 2.5 hours left, and to be honest, I think I'm a little bit behind on my target, to be fair. I haven't got a clue what's been caught on this bank. I really don't know. I think the angler at the next peg, I'm not sure that is. I didn't really look who it was. I'm sure I've heard his landing net a couple of times. Lad, am I right? I've not heard anything, so I haven't got a clue what's been caught here. Other than Phil Ringers down there has been catching. But obviously I can't even think about that for now. But biggest concern at the minute, I think I've got about £20, 19 to £20. But I bet I've got 6 or 7 fish for that. So my biggest concern is I'm just catching the wrong stamp of fish. Now I shouldn't really complain because I might be doing really well with that number of fish. I don't know. It's just on this venue, what little I've learnt about it over these last 2 days is that the average stamp is £5 or £6. So for me to get probably 6 or 7 fish like I've got, I just would have thought that there would be a higher percentage chance of them being a better stamp fish. And I think only 2 of them are what you would call a proper bream. So that might be the way I'm feeding it. I think it must be because the same happened yesterday. A couple of people commented on it this morning, saying for the number of fish you had, normally you would have had a higher weight. So for some reason yesterday I caught a smaller stamp of fish, caught some of those skimmers around the £2 or up to £2, and that's happening today again. So it must be something to do with what I'm feeding, whether it's the maggots, the worm, the casters. I don't know. It could be the ground bait. I don't know. But I'm not getting enough bites, and I don't fish here enough to try and cut things out. Yeah, are you with me? I don't want to start cutting things out because I am getting 1 or 2 bites. So maybe that's something for another day. I've just had a couple of tiny little indications on this cast, so I think I've got 19 to £20 with 2.5 hours left. So just going to keep doing what I'm doing on this same line. I haven't got a clue what's happening around me, so there's no point in me changing. So I've just got to hope I'm going to get a good run of fish, because up to now it's just been odd fish. I haven't had a run, so I'm hoping that if this wind continues and the time of day gets later, hopefully it's going to get stronger. That's the first one for ages, that one. A really strange pickup, that. I honestly thought it was foul hooked. I don't know if it swam towards me when I hooked it or not, I don't know, but it didn't really set the hook until about a turn into it. But it's another fish in the net, that's the main thing. Well, there's 45 minutes left. I've got to admit that last hour has just gone like that. It's gone really, really quick. I put that bait in with the bait up feeder. I can't really say that it worked. I think, you know, I didn't really get a response at all for a good... Is that a fish? That's another one. That might put me on now about 40, 45 pounds, something like that. There's 40 minutes left. $15 to go. That's it. Time. That's it. Done. I've got to admit that last 30 minutes was a bit disappointing, to be fair. I set the line up, as you know, with 2 hours to go, and it just didn't work. You know, it was good 20 minutes, half hour before I even had an indication, so I can't say that worked at all. However, I felt that I might get a visit going into that final 45 minutes or so, and I did. I got a couple of fish, and I really felt it was going to get stronger. But as soon as we got into that last 30 minutes, I kept putting the bait in, because I thought if there's, you know, just to try and push it for that last 30 minutes, so if I didn't get a visit, I could hold them. And I must have had 8 line bites in that last 30 minutes, and certainly 3 of them I picked up on. I just couldn't tell that they were line bites. They were so positive, I had to pick up nothing there. And one of them, the bait had gone over the point of the hook as well, so I don't think that was a line bite. I'm pretty sure that was a proper bite, and it just didn't get hooked up properly. So that's disappointing, you know, because if that was obviously another proper size bream, then there's another £5 there at least. and then I've had one with 15 minutes to go, a good fish, and then I was just massively confident I was going to get another. And I've had a couple of little indications, but it never materialised. So that's it, I've finished. So I haven't really counted the fish, but once again, I'm just a bit concerned that certainly those early fish were a smaller stamp. I don't know if that's, you know, if everyone's had that issue or not, I don't know. So my target was, well, I felt I needed £50 today from this peg. That was what I felt, and I think I might have got it. Might be, I've got around £50. It just depends how those bigger bream weigh. Yesterday I vastly overestimated how big those bream actually weighed, so I might have done that again today. I've tried to err on the side of caution. So I think I've got about £50. I haven't heard a single thing about anybody around here. I don't know what got caught. Dad's not there. Dad's back at the van, so I'm going to get packed away as quick as I can. Wait for the scales to come down because we're heading back home tonight. I'm out coaching tomorrow as well, so I'm not going to be getting home till late, so I've got lots to do. So I'm going to get my gear packed away and wait for the scales to come down. Well, they've actually weighed £57. I'd clicked around that 50 mark. Yesterday I over-clicked, so I've kind of compensated for that today and gone the other way. So that's the top weight up to here, believe it or not. Even right down there where Chris Hill is, where he's drawn, there was a £90 there yesterday. We honestly expected them catching, you know, I haven't really thought about those pegs down there because they were just kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And the top weight down there is actually Chris Hill. He's weighed 47 pounds, so he's done really well down there. And then there's been a couple of much lower weights. One lad's not bothered weighing in, so mine's the top weight coming up to here. I think Rob Button up there, he was admitting to around 30 or 40 pound. So we'll find out what he weighs. So I'm going to get the rest of this gear packed away, get up there, and by the time I've done all that, I'll probably see one of the lads on the car park and find out how I fared in the section. My £57 was enough to win the section and be the top weight on the high bank. I felt like I'd really given myself a chance of getting back into this competition, and thankfully that had boosted my weight up to £110 13 ounce, which got me 5th overall in the actual final standings, which was absolutely fantastic considering I had just 1 ounce on day one. But as we know, with bream fishing, it is all about the draw. You've still got to get your tactics and your approach right, but with weight competitions like this, when you do draw on some fish, you've really got to make the most of it. Phil Ringer had made no mistake from peg 102 to continue leading the festival, and he took this year's title with a total combined weight of a massive 309 pounds. So he won the event. Second overall was Chris Hill with 161 pounds, and Adam Wakeling remained in the frame to take third spot with 123 pounds. Steve Ringer kept his 4th place with 114 pounds, and then I managed to sneak into 5th place with a combined weight of 110 pounds. In 6th place was Nathan Goodham, who's fished well all weekend, and in 7th place, taking the final overall payout slot, was Nigel Truman with a combined weight of 104 pounds. We've got to say a massive congratulations to Phil Ringer on winning the event, and thanks to him and Steve Ringer and Ringer Baits for running what was a flawless event, and it's one that I really hope to be part of again next year. I really hope you've enjoyed this live match film, and if you'd like to see more videos like this of our events going through the remainder of this year, please hit subscribe, and don't forget there is a playlist of over 70 live matches like this one for you to enjoy right here on the Catch Fishing channel.